This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
The show does really well on pay-per-view, WrestleMania 22, that is. 975,000 buys. That is down a little bit from the prior year, but it's still really, really strong on pay-per-view. It did better than WrestleMania 15, WrestleMania 2000, and even WrestleMania 18 and 19. I know you're probably not keeping up with ratings and pay-per-view buy rates as an in-ring competitor, but do you notice when a show does better or worse on pay-per-view when it comes to the payoffs?
Well, you know, if that's the only effect that we have as performers is we're not responsible for, you know, how many pay-per-view buys they do or whatever, but we get paid their pay-per-view buys, and if there's a bigger house drawing. So that's how we find out, but we don't know, you know, how many buys there are after WrestleMania. We only know by the numbers that we get when we get paid.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we fans and obviously the wrestling quote unquote media really talk a lot about the ratings and the buy rates. And I understand if you're covering the business, but from a performer standpoint, yeah, it's did I make more money or less money? And that's kind of the end of the conversation, right?
Right. And all WrestleManias are successful because the athletes put on their best performances of the year. So all WrestleManias are considered a huge success. And it's the one show of the year. It's our biggest show. And it's the one show of the year that we can celebrate the whole entire year.
Let's keep it going here and talk a little bit about the infamous after party. We fans have heard for a long time that WrestleMania after parties were legendary. And supposedly at this show, Vince attends the after party and he's beaming. He's proud of his match, and it was smiles all around. Do you remember the WrestleMania 22 after party at all?
Yeah, it was pretty lively. You know, a lot of people go there to drink and eat and watch the WrestleMania that just transpired. And, you know, Vince came in and he was beaming. He was in a great mood, and rightfully so. He had an awesome match that night, and I'm sure he wanted to celebrate along with everybody else.
Let's keep it moving here and talk about some more news and notes as we head into the show, specifically the ratings for Smackdown. We've recently talked about in our No Way Out 2006 episode that you had just moved to Smackdown because Batista had gone down with an injury and the brand needs a top star. Not only that, but SmackDown back in September of 2005 moved to Friday nights for the first time. It's averaging 4.9 million viewers in January, which is down from 5.56 million the prior January. But that's pretty strong because the numbers are on the rise. So in November, they were doing 4.3 million. You come over to the show and ta-da, it's 4.9. You were good for ratings here, Bubba. That's a 600,000 spike right there.
I guess so. I guess, you know, the fans wanted more Kurt Angle. I don't know.
Let's talk for whatever reason. When we just recently covered this with Bruce Pritchard, we talked about the Saturday night's main event where it's been dusted off. This is really a shelved concept. We all grew up on them as lifelong wrestling fans, but they bring it back here in 2006 to NBC. And the rating is disappointing. You know, once upon a time, it set all kinds of records when they had Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant back in '88, but that's not the case here. It's been off the air for 15 years, and the rating comes in at a 3.11. And this is a show that features the return of Steve Austin and Jim Ross. So they were expecting a lot more people to tune in. By the way, these days we don't talk ratings points. We talk about total number of viewers. Well, we had 5.15 million viewers. And that was considered a disappointment. And that tells you a lot about how TV has even changed, because if SmackDown gets 3 million people now, boy, it's high fives all around, and it's on broadcast TV every week. Do you think that there is something to the, I don't know, there's a vocal minority of folks who say there are fewer people watching wrestling right now than ever before, but perhaps they're more passionate and more willing to spend money than ever before. Do you think there are less people watching wrestling today in 2021, Kurt?
Well, I really don't know. I can't really judge that call, but I could tell you that, you know, there are a lot more options on TV, and there are a lot more networks and live streaming. There's just so much more going on now that TV ratings have fallen, I think, across the board for every show. There are a lot of shows that do extremely well, but for the most part, if you're going to compare them to the 80s and 90s where you only had 4 or 5 networks, you're going to see a drop in ratings because there's more options now.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.